Alright guys, how's it going? We're back with the VXR. It's been a long time. Show where I'm at now. So what's been happening is we've been losing coolant. So it was like a head gasket failure. You can see like all the old, with the coolant, water goes up, creates like a mess. But it was doing this for quite a long time. So I was driving the car, just topping the water off every. So I basically run with it for about 4 months. Just carried on using it. It didn't seem to lose any power. Didn't steam on startup, or no noticeable, no water in the coolant. No water in the oil. Nothing like that. No actual symptoms other than just blowing, pressurizing the expansion tank and blowing out there. So there's got the spark plugs out. Useful. I'll bring them over. Cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, and generally it's all looking quite clean. But if you look at cylinder 4, I don't know if it's because I've had them out for a couple of days, but you can see the slight corrosion. I'll get something to point at it. You can see the small bits of corrosion on the outside edge. So like around the edge here. That looks like a bit of coolant, I'd imagine. That one there has a bit on it. That one's very clean. And that one's very clean. Maybe a touch on that side. So anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the battery up, pull the top stuff off, lift the car up a little bit off the front, take the exhaust off, and then take the head off, and we'll have a look. Because I'm currently running the 1.3mm gasket, head gaskets, like the larger one, to lower the compression ratio a little bit. And I have heard about them, because there's like obviously a bit more surface area, they're slightly, I don't know how true it is, but they're slightly more prone to actually leaking or failing, because there's just a little more area for the pressure to push against. So the plan is, hopefully it's just a gasket. Pull the head, look at it, have a check, and I've got a standard gasket to go on. The standard ones are, I think, about 1mm or 0.9 of a mil. Because this engine had a compression ratio with that gasket of 8.5 to 1, and standard then 9.5. So we're going to go back to a standard compression ratio, so hopefully have a little bit more off boost response. So we'll see how that goes. So that's the plan for the video. I'll put you on the tripod and just probably do like a little time lapse or something like that. Okay, cool. Okay guys, so just got the head off, and That's how she looks. Obviously the main corrosion you can see is because I've been running water for about 4 months. I had water in the block instead of coolant. But these are the Wozner pistons, by the way, too. It's running 86.5mm forged Wozner pistons and PEC rods on this motor. So nothing. Maybe a little bit there, I'm not sure. I'll pull the gasket off. That's the head. I don't know why it's flickering. The camera seems flickering. So you're running obviously very clean. You can see a little bit down here. Don't know why it's flickering on the camera. Looks like that might be a touch of, maybe it was leaking in here. It's the only one without a clear ring. But these have all got clear ring. It's a nice clear ring there. Yeah, it could be this was where it was leaking. Maybe, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Yeah, this engine also does a long high speed, like wide open runs, so not just banging through the gearbox like to redline. This thing would do that and then it would sit in 5th, 6th gear for like 30 seconds plus, you know, so it's doing long wide open throttle over 30 seconds there, so probably almost a minute at full throttle at full load. It's quite hard, so yeah, let's pull this off. Oh yeah, so it looks like it's failed in this area here on the gasket on cylinder 1. Don't know if you can see. If you look down here, so that's this side. That flashing light's annoying, don't know why it flashes. Just in here, so you can see the sort of markings. It's not like paint like in the middle. It's the only place I can see where it looks like it's bridged across. It's another one, and also if you look at the valves, there's a bit of oranging, like corrosion on that one, and they're not on any of the others. So yeah, so now it's just time for a big clean up, and like I was saying before, this is the 1.3mm gasket. It's very wide and there's a lot of layers, so I'm just wondering if a bit of corrosion got in to like one of these layers under here and sort of just started to set it off. It's possible. And yeah, so clean it up best I can and just go with a new gasket. And I've also got I took all the front off as well because I pulled the AC compressor. I've got an AC delete kit. I put that on finally. I've had it for a long time. And this is the AirTech Stage 3 intercooler because I've got a big turbo for this car, but I'm not doing that now. I don't know when I'll do that. I should get around to it at some point, but I've got a solid lifter conversion to go on this with some big cams and the big turbo, etc, etc. And yeah, on this engine's also got the yellow poly bushes, which are like, they're way stronger than the rubber ones. That one there is really important to do. If you only have the XR, definitely do that one, that mount, because helps with the gear changes and things like that. So yep, that's about it. I'll show you when it's all ready to go back together. Alright, so I've just cleaned up the head face there. I just used like a bit of flat block water or WD. I think this is 800. Just give it a clean. And I've just done the block as well. Where is the torch? Just had it in my hand. The donut. There it is. So, clean the block, but don't know if the camera picks it up, but you can just, this area here where I think it was leaking, the surface finish on this is not the best. It's like got a, it's kind of like a pitting a little bit, but there's nothing we can do about it now other than like remove the block and get the whole block decked again, which I'm not going to do. So I'm just going to give it one last quick clean with a brake and parts cleaner, wipe down, new gasket, and yeah, put the head back on. Only other thing I've got to watch out is I've got to locate this this coolant block here, which takes an O-ring, so need to make sure that sits correctly. But other than that, that's it. So I put you on the tripod and put the head back on. Okay, so I've finally got the deep socket to access the nuts properly. So hopefully that one won't slip. And I found some of my old ARP torque lubricant. So I'll quickly just take one off at a time, because I've only torqued this down to 45 Newton meters. So take one nut off at a time, put the lube on, the ARP torque lube, and then just torque it up as normal. These get torqued up to 80 foot-pound, 80 foot-pound. So yeah, crack on with it. Still quite a bit to do, obviously. So yeah, cool. Okay guys, so back now. Still a mess, but I've got a timing belt. Finally got my timing belt delivered, and got a new pressure cap. Just going over here. It's a new pressure cap, just to rule out that being an issue before. Got the timing belt here, a new one. I wasn't going to replace the timing belt, but well, I just thought for the cost, like the cost of like 35 to 40 quid delivered, and that just changed the parts. So it's all timed up. It was assembled basically on time before, like timing wise. So yeah, I'm just gonna put the time belt on now. Just carry on while there's a storm outside. And yeah, so let's do it. Oh, what else we got to do? Wiring's all done. Wiring's good. Well, just to plug in like the ignition coils and the map sensor, but yeah, generally speaking, it's all back wiring wise. Timing belt to do. This plumbing put on, the exhaust to put it back on, the V-band, which is notorious for you have to do multiple times. Hope because I've got the radiator out, I should be able to get it right first time. Fingers crossed. And I've also got the AC delete kit to fit. I don't know if I showed that already. It's just this bracket here. So all it is the small belt here goes on the pulley and the alternator, and this one just bolts on the back, and that just keeps it manually tensioned. So it does away with all the big bulky stuff in the front, and the compressor and that's over there, and the backing, the mounting plate. So had it for ages, fine, may as well fit it now. And yeah, and then once that stuff's done, radiator in. The aftermarket radiator is it's a little bit more tricky to fit. it's slightly like just a touch bigger, or the fitment's just not quite bang on, so getting it out was a bit of a pain. I'm sure putting it back in will be a bit annoying too. But yeah, so let's carry on. This is the big beast intercooler. This is the stage 3, this is the massive one. It's a bit of an overkill for a little KO4 baby turbo, but I've got the big turbo at home. My plan is still to fit the big turbo, but I won't do that until I do my solid lifter conversion on the cylinder head. I was going to do it all now, like take the engine out and do it all now, but because work is like a bit sporadic, it didn't seem like a good idea to go spending like another, grand or two or 1,500, whatever, just now to get that done. So I've just put all that on hold. I've got the turbo, I've got the manifold, and I've got the solid lifters to go in and the lash caps. The only thing I need to buy still is the full race camshafts, which is about £500, and then you've got to add on the injectors you'll need. So you'll need the camshafts, the big injectors, 1000cc injectors, and you'll obviously need to get the car re-dynoed. So it's 500, so that's 1,500 there pretty much. And yeah, and obviously the oil lines and things, so it's easy, another 100. So yeah, that's why I haven't done it just now. Originally the plan was to do it all now, but yeah, so anyway, put it on hold, do it another day. So the intercooler's all ready and waiting for the big upgrade for the big turbo. It should be pretty rowdy when that thing goes on. It'll be pretty wild. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's time belt on. I've turned the engine over by hand a couple of times, about two full revolutions. Intake cam bang on, exhaust cam bang on, and obviously the crank still. Crank markings bang on there. So small dent there and dent there. Spot on. Belt feels good. All looks good. And you can see a little down there. Don't know if you can see, but that's where you sit. When it's new, you go to the notch on the furthest notch on the right on new, and onto the left when it's used, if it's a used belt. But it's a new belt, so you put that to new, and then you just torque your bolt up, and as it spins, that just takes the tension. So yeah. Okay, so got everything back on, and I've got the AC delete kit in there. You can see this little it's like a tie rod end. Just adjust out manually, so you manually adjust the tension. A bit old school, but it does away with all the compressor and everything, and it's tight. And the mount's down there. I'll see if I get a torch. There you go. Yep. Let's just sit up there. I had to get another belt, a slightly longer belt than the one that came in the kit, because the thing with these kits, this kit's designed to run with the standard inlet manifold, and if you're running like this one, an EDS inlet manifold, if you run an EDS inlet manifold, the alternator can't come all the way forward as far as a standard one, so it sits back a touch, which means you need a slightly longer belt, about 10mm longer. Not too big of a deal, but annoying. And so now, last job I've got to do now is just fix the inner guard, because it rubs on the wheel and stuff. And then yeah, go for a test drive. I might do an oil change as well. I've got oil and filter. So yeah, that's about it. Oil there, filter, good to go. Back when I've finished the guard. Oil change is done. Wheel arch is finished, wheels are on. Time for a start up and let it warm up and get the coolant bed through and check the oil, etc. So let's do that. Just find my keys. Open the garage door. Oh man, it's been a while. Let's check it out. Oil pressure gauge. Quite a high viscosity oil, so it's and it's cold weather, so it takes a while to build oil pressure, but it's worth it for the this engine gets quite a hard time, so sounds good. Back up a little bit. Just let it warm up. Make sure the heaters are on maximum. This needs a really good wash. It's been sitting in here for quite a while. Pretty nasty.